Hey guys, Ash here from C4E Tech. Now, a few months back, I reviewed the Lenovo Legion Tab, aka the Lenovo Y700 2023 edition. Basically, I was visiting China back then, and as a long-time user of the OG Y700, I'd borrowed my friend's 2023 SKU, just for personal use. I ended up having such a good time with it that I actually did a review and almost bought one for myself. Now, that order I ended up cancelling, not because I didn't like that tablet, but because I was seeing a whole lot of rumbling about an upcoming 2025 version, and it was bringing one very important change that I just couldn't resist holding back for. Fast forward a few months, this is my Y700, the 2025 edition, and man, Lenovo's done an absolutely fantastic job here. For the most part, there are a couple of things I dislike, one thing I absolutely hate. But anyways, my name's Ash. In today's video, let's talk about the Lenovo Y700, the 2025 SKU. The unboxing experience is pretty straightforward. A very familiar Lenovo box. I ended up going for the 12-56 version, which is the base, not because I wanted it, but because the 512 didn't ship for another few weeks and I just couldn't wait. Now, once I cut the seals and open up the box, the first thing we see is the new Y700. Lenovo offers this tablet in two colors, the black and a white. Once again, I wanted to get the one that shipped the quickest, hence the black. I do think the white looks better. Next up, there are a couple of booklets followed by a black Type-C to Type-C cable, and finally something we've seen with multiple Motorola devices, a 68-watt turbocharger. Now, while the last gen Y700 also shipped with the same charger, that one only supported a charging speed of 45 watts. This one is supposed to support the full 68 watts. That said, I didn't really see any major change in charge times. It gets to about 40% in 15 minutes, which is a tad more than what the last gen could do, but a full charge still takes about 50 minutes, which is fast, but not really an improvement on its predecessor. Now, the battery capacity hasn't changed either. It's still 6550 mAh, which at a time where we are seeing mini phones with 5700 mAh and there's talk of flagships coming with 6500 mAh batteries, it doesn't really seem like much. But the OG Y700 and the Y700 2023 both offered excellent battery life. Like the OG Y700, I'd use it for a few hours every night and end up charging it only once or twice a week. Now, take the same battery capacity, but add to it the new chip's efficiency. Now guys, I need to spend more time with this to confirm it, but I'm very bullish on the battery life being good here too. Now, talking about the chip on the inside, this is the main reason why I held off on my purchase. Lenovo's gone ahead and packed in a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 this time. And this 8 Gen 3, it's paired with 12 or 16 gigs of LPDDR5X RAM and 256 or 512 gigs of fast UFS 4.0 storage. Now, forget gaming for a minute. With just regular use, the speed difference, it's so damn noticeable. Everything is fast and smooth and snappy on ZUI 16 here. I actually thought maybe they sped up the transition times, and I even checked. No, the interface with this hardware, it just feels so responsive. And I've said this in my older Y700 videos, Lenovo does a comprehensive job when it comes to the UI. You can easily split the screen, resize and get apps to float out. You can control refresh rate choices on a per app basis. Hell, you can even select the aspect ratios for games. Just see this. So many choices on how a game is displayed. And just like last year, the second USB Type-C port here is USB 3.2 Gen 2 with DisplayPort out. So it allows you to connect to an external monitor, and not just for mirroring. You get a full desktop experience. You can use the Y700 as a trackpad if you want to. And all the Smart Connect features that we've seen on Motorola devices, they are present and accounted for here too. So from a software experience, Lenovo seems to have things nailed the F down. The user experience is just amazing. That said, it is not all roses. There are some very important cons to mention, and let's talk about them now. First off, ZUI 16 is built on top of Android 14, not 15, and updates are going to be very slow, and 2 updates is probably the max you should expect, and even there, only 1 is guaranteed really. Honestly though, I don't really care. Just personally, as an end user, I don't really care. Being a year or so behind with updates isn't optimal, but it isn't gonna really affect my usability. But the next one, I find this change utterly disgusting. Now, this is the OG Y700. It had a cellular option, a headphone jack, and micro SD. This is its successor, the 2023 Y700. It lost the cellular option, it lost the headphone jack, at least got another Type-C port, and still had microSD. Now this is the 2025 Y700, no cellular option, no headphone jack, and this time no microSD. Why? On a tablet so powerful, that's so damn good for say emulation, even Windows emulation, with a new super large vapor chamber, it loses only about 25% of its peak performance on stress tests, which by a Gen 3 standards is not bad at all. It doesn't even get hot. See that? Running chill under 40 degrees after a 20-minute stress test. And there's also bypass charging to get the best performance while playing plugged in. Given all this, it just feels so damn stupid for a brand to remove microSD on a product like this. Okay, not really stupid, they sell more 512 units, I get it. From a business perspective, maybe in the short term it helps them, but looking at this as an end consumer, it's probably the most disappointing thing about the 2025 Y700 for me. Do you agree? Is the lack of microSD a deal breaker for you? Let me know in the comments. Anyways, moving on, the display, it's gotten some improvement. It's still the same size. It's a 16:10 panel, 8.8 inches, IPS LCD. Resolution is unchanged, 2.8K. That gives it a pixel density of 343 pixels per inch. So text, very sharp. It makes the reading experience very good. This size, 8.8 inches, this weight, 350 grams, which again hasn't gone up, and this thickness, 7.8 millimeters. You know, it makes it all very sleek, very comfortable. So reading a book while holding this tablet in one hand, it's very much doable. Now the contrast on this panel is excellent. It's not OLED good, but it's very, very good for an IPS LCD. Like take the OnePlus Pad 2 for example. I mentioned this in my review of that tablet. When in bed watching movies in a dark room, the black bars, they appear very grayish and kind of take away from the immersion. It drove me nuts for a bit. The Y700 on the other hand, it doesn't feel that way. Once again, this is not OLED black, but the blacks are as black as they can be on a LCD. This is really an excellent panel. And of course, they've also improved it, made it brighter. The official claim is only 900 nits, but in my testing, this panel output over 1000 nits. So even outdoors, the Y700, it's pretty usable. Then there's HDR support for Dolby Vision and HDR10. Add to it the excellent loud and rich speakers, which have both been placed on the top. So when you hold the Y700 in landscape, you don't cover them while gaming. It just makes media consumption on this device very, very good. And this time, the screen can go up to 165 Hz, so it's smoother than ever. And Lenovo's added two very strong X-axis linear motors for vibration. The haptics are very accurate and strong here. Definitely adds to the experience. In fact, it's so good that it's even noticeable when using a controller that doesn't have any vibration. So when you throw on a cheap controller like this, you end up getting a bright and sharp and almost 9-inch 2.8K panel with a 165Hz refresh with strong haptics, which kind of makes this the perfect device to stream games on if that is something you're into. So what else? The cameras, except for a cosmetic change in this array where this part has now been added, they seem unchanged from the last time. They're typical tablet cameras. They're there for the occasional document scan and video call and get the job done for that. Yes, we still have that useless macro camera. Now the Y700 2025 starts at 2899 RMB, which converts to about 34,000 rupees Indian or about $400 US. And given its predecessor did end up launching globally, even in India, if you're looking for a performance-focused tablet that's not called an iPad mini, then the Y700 2025, despite that disgusting decision to remove microSD, still looks to be the best choice. What do you think about this tablet? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Ash out.